Hey everybody, welcome to the Truly Metal podcast. My name is Libby and this is my weekly live podcast that I beam out onto YouTube and Facebook every Thursday morning New Zealand time, come rain or shine. I'm here to chat to you all about knitting and making and all of that good stuff. And this is live so I can see your comments. I can't actually see your comments until I put my glasses on. So I'll put my glasses on. Hey Janet. Hey, it's grey and drizzling. Yeah, I don't know whether it's warm or cold today, Lynn. I was wearing a different top and then I just suddenly changed because I thought, actually, I'm feeling a little bit chilly. So I put on something a little bit warmer. But the weather is definitely eking up, just inching up to be warmer, I have to say. But it's still a bit chilly. Let me just pull you a bit closer because I feel like I'm hovering on the edge of my seat. So I'm sorry if I'm just a massive face now, but it's difficult for me to read your comments. You love the school holidays, says Di, you get to watch live. I know, this is the last week, isn't it, Di? Next week back to school, but yes, it's lovely to have you live. Sunny morning and a very frosty start in Rangiora, and the same for Tamsin. Oh good, oh it's really nice to see you. So I've got both Facebook and YouTube here this morning, so keep your comments coming. You had your pickle on, yeah, but you got cold. Yeah, I had my Noah on, and then I just suddenly felt, oh, actually, I think I need something on my sleeves. I just felt like I needed a little bit more. If you're new here, welcome. I'm going to talk to you today all about socks because it is October and it is Socktober. But before I do that, I've got 3 new sock patterns to show you. Before I do that, I want to remind you that the doors to Wardrobe Toolbox close tonight. It's been a really busy week. Lots of people have joined. It's been so fun seeing them in the lounge and chatting. And we had our knit night yesterday. So you've missed the knit night if you're joining today, but that's okay because we're going to start on Monday, properly on Monday. We just had our end of season knit night yesterday, and then we start properly next week. But today is the last day. That is it. I'm closing the doors tonight and they won't open again until 6 months from now. So if you want to get in, this is the time. It's actually a good time. I was reading something the other day. It said that October is a good time to plan some changes because by the time we get to Christmas, we're a bit swamped. The new year comes and that's a bit crazy. But October is a good time. So if you want to make garments that fit you, you want to learn you just want to learn some of the nuts and bolts and ins and outs of making things that actually fit you, your shape, your body, and knowing what yarn to use and what modifications to make and where to take measurements and all the little tweaks and things we talk about, then Wardrobe Toolbox is the place to come because that's what we talk about. Amanda's saying that so many new people, the lounge is humming. We have got tons of new people and it's really fun to see. We've got a lot of people from this end of the world where I am in New Zealand and Australia. There already are a lot of people from this end of the world in Wardrobe Toolbox, and it's always this season that we open at this time of the year. We get a lot of Northern Hemisphere knitters join us, and we've got more from Europe this time. It's like there's lots from Europe, from Scotland and the Czech Republic and Portugal. There's people who are living all the way through there, which is fantastic. The UK, obviously, England, I mean. But yeah, so that's really, really nice. And we've got something coming for you that's special. You'll be so thrilled because we have a special session which will suit your time zone coming. I'm going to announce that later. It will start in November, but we haven't forgotten about you on funny time zones compared to me. Anyway, and then of course we have lots of people coming from the States. It was really fun to meet everyone. Lots of people came in yesterday to the knit night, and I always love those knit nights because I find them so inspiring. It makes me fall back in love with knitting all again and making, and I really enjoy them. It was a really long one yesterday, but it was good. So those of you who were there, I know some of you, I can see your names, you were there, and so it was really good to see you. Anyway, the doors close tonight. I'm not going to talk about it again for 6 months. So if you want in, now is the time. Go to, we moved our clocks forward, Yona. Yeah, from New York City. Yes, we've leapt forward, sprung forward. And so everyone's tired in the mornings now because we've lost an hour. If you want to find out about Wardrobe Toolbox and join head to wardrobetoolbox.com, and you'll notice that you can still sign up today, but if you're watching this later, you'll have to wait till next time. In that case, just jump on the waiting list if you're watching this later. Yana says, so much fun. I can't believe I knit a front finished on a sweater. Oh, that was yesterday during our knit night. Wow. Yeah, you got a lot of knitting done. I think we were there for 2.5 hours. It was a really long one. And lots of people were chatting and jumping on the screen and showing us what they're working on. So anyway, that was really good. It was fun. We had all sorts, didn't we? Because it was school holidays. I'm seeing you, Marina. We saw your kids, which was really nice. Okay, so I'm now launching into something new because it's October, and I've never done anything for Socktober before, and I thought it always sounded fun, and I was a little bit organized a few months ago, and so I managed to get some more socks on my needles so that I had some new ones to give you for Socktober, which we're going to start. We're officially starting today. Today is when we're starting Socktober, even though it's the 2nd. And then actually the patterns are live now. But so I don't quite know where to start because I've got lots of things for you. I think I'll start with should I start with the toolkit? Because I've made you a toolkit, which I think you'll find really helpful. Even if you've been knitting a while, it can be quite nice to grab the toolkit. If you're already a Mini Mag subscriber, then I'm going to send you all these handouts. There's 3 of them. There's 3 guides in the toolkit. I'm going to send you those probably tomorrow. I'll probably give you a link to them tomorrow, and you can grab them. If you're not a Mini Mag subscriber, well, you should be, because that's the best way to stay in touch with me. But you can go to trulymyrtle.com / did I write it down? I think it's Sock Toolkit. Hang on, let me just double check. I was doing so many things this morning. I just told Claire what the name was. It is Truly Myrtle. Hang on, gosh almighty, honestly, I can't believe it. How do I find the actual link for it? Copy. Oh, now I've gone to Wardrobe Toolbox by accident. Can someone, Claire, if you there, can you remind me? It's trulymyrtle.com / and I think it's Sock Toolkit, one word. I think that's what it is. But you know when you try and open something in your phone, open external browser, there we go. I'll just go to the end. I'm not a very good marketer, am I? Hang on. Yep, there it is. Sock Toolkit, one word. Go there. I'll have links on all the sock patterns. On all my sock patterns, there will be a link to the Sock Toolkit, and I'll make sure it's under this video later. So trulymyrtle.com / Sock Toolkit, one word. If you go there and you pop in your email, then I will send you, I've got 3 guides, and they all look a bit like this. They're going to come one day at a time. So you'll get one on the first day, and then you'll get one the next day and one the day after, because, you just want to read them and then move on to the next one. So the first one is about easy foot measuring, and I'm talking to you about how to get the best fit. I've got a little guide in there about where to measure your foot and what you need, and all basic things about taking your measurements or the measurements of someone else so that you can make a sock for them. And I talk about a well-fitting sock, what that means. The second one is all about, do you like toe up or cuff down? Because the socks I'm going to show you, and all my socks in my library of sock patterns, there's a variety of toe up and sock down. I think we might have more top down than we do toe up. I'll show you in a minute. But I have got a handful of toe up for you to try, and so I've got this guide here which is toe up versus cuff down made simple with descriptions, just so you get it in your head what you're doing. Now I like doing a heel flap and gusset. That's all I've got in all my socks, so that's what I'm talking to you about. And then the third guide, they're all just one page, and I've crammed all this information into just one page. The third guide is all about socks that fit and feel comfy. And I'm talking about if you've got a high or a low arch, your foot versus your ankle ratios, if you've got a larger foot or a narrower foot, toes, things like that. Just to give you a starter on getting a fit that feels good for you. And the reason I like a heel flap and gusset is because I think those are super easy to modify. So you can grab that. As I said, Mini Mag subscribers, you'll get that. If you sign up to this and you go and grab it now to get the first one, and you're a Mini Mag subscriber, you'll get it tomorrow anyway, but you'll get this, you know, you can do what you like to get the sock toolkit. But I thought that would be really handy, and we'll come back to that through the course of the month, because now I think we've got about 4-5 weeks now into October, probably 4, where we can talk about socks, and I've got things to talk about every week, so we can keep coming back to our socks. So I just thought that'd get you set up. Oh, thank you, Sabrina. She's put a link to the sock toolkit in Facebook, but I'll make sure it's under this video too. Rachel says that's her favourite too, heel flap and gusset. I find it really comfortable, and I have tried short row heels. I don't mind the fish kiss lips heel, but I've tried short row heels generally, and I find they're too tight around this part of my foot. They just too tight through that there. So I do prefer a heel flap that comes down, and then a gusset like that in your foot to give you a good fit. And I actually find the ones that I've got without any modifications actually fit me fine. But you can see. What about sock blockers? Okay, I've got things here. I thought what we could do today is I'll talk to you about getting started and some of the tools I think you need, and I'll talk about the socks. I'm having a big sale on the socks. So if you are a Mini Mag subscriber, tomorrow I will have a code for you in the Mini Mag, and you'll be able to get any of the Truly Myrtle socks. The code's going to last all into next week, to the end of the week, so that you can grab yourself any socks you want with a discount, and they will be the new ones and the existing ones. So should I just show you some of the socks? That's probably a good idea. I've got lots of socks here to show you. Those are double ups of those, so I'll put that over there. Here we go. These are the 3 new socks. Those can go there too. Okay, so I'll go in order of the new ones that are out, and I have showed you some of these before, but maybe not properly. I'll put them on a blocker so you can see them properly, and then you'll see. The first ones I've got, and actually this time, Claire does the, you'll notice now under my YouTube videos, I've got chapters, and so you can just zip to places. And Claire says to me, Libby, you start talking about something, and then you start talking about something else. And so I write down what it is that you're about to talk about, and then suddenly you're not talking about that, you're talking about something else. So I have to try and stay on topic. Okay, we'll stay on topic, Claire, don't worry. I'll try. Okay, these are the first socks. We can have the heading now. Petra Socks. So these are the first ones I did. I think I did some, I started these, when I was first knitting these, I started knitting them in this colour. Oh, yes, it was it this colour? I think it was this colour. It was this colour, whether it was this yarn. I think it was. I think I started them in that. When I went on a trip to visit, it was my son's birthday, and we went down to see the kids in Dunedin a few months ago. And I was just playing on the plane. I cast on the toes, and I was just playing around with some ideas for the pattern. I had something in mind, and I was just ripping back and redoing it. It's always a mistake to try and design things on the plane. But anyway, I started those, and I think I posted on social media in my sporadic fashion of posting on social media. I really try, but I just forget about it. And anyway, I started these, and then I ended up changing the yarn because they just felt like they needed a different yarn. And so I went for this beautiful grey yarn. They started at the toe, and you work your way up. They've got, see, this is the gusset that you grow when you're doing toe up socks. You grow this gusset with increases, and then you turn your heel here, and then you come back and you actually do decreases like that up the side of the heel flap to get you back to the circumference you need at the leg. And so these ones use a little cable and eyelet pattern. They're super addictive. I did them not really shorty, but sort of short, because I thought, well, they were just pretty. I thought they looked quite good like that. And but you can make them longer if you want. I'll show you how much yarn I had left for my size, which I'm a pretty average size. I'm a 38 foot, and I don't make any mods to them. So that's, I had that much yarn left, and this is quite a short skein. I used Plucky Knitter for these, and I'm pretty sure it's got a bit of cashmere in it. It was so delicious. Oh, hang on. I think I've got a label. Might not have the labels in there of that one, but I can tell you on here. Petra. I use Plucky Knitter Primo Fingering, and it's 75% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, 5% nylon, and oh, I just love it, soft and lovely. Now, I bought this skein many moons ago, and actually they've changed the yardage of the sock. And so what I originally had a 352 meter sock, or 385 yards of sock yarn, I had that much left. It's quite generous left, but now the sock yarn is actually longer. So if you get a Plucky Merino skein now, and in fact a lot of sock yarns, you'll find that they're a wee bit longer than that, and so so you'll get more, get more sock. But it's really very cute little sock. It's pretty. It's a pretty sock, I think, and I liked it in the pale color because I could see it very clearly. I think the shadowing plays really well when the color's a little bit light. So those are Petra Socks, and they're all live now. If you don't want to wait for a discount, they're all live now. But if you do want to wait for a discount, just sign up to the mini mag and you'll get that. I'll send it to you over the next week, various times, so that you'll get it. So those are Petra. Those are the first ones of the new ones, and they're on my website and they're on Ravelry. Okay, the second ones I did a little survey in my mini mag. And I said to people, do you like toe up or top down socks best? And I got a lot of top down. A lot of people said top down. But then it kind of averaged out, it kind of evened out. But I did get the sense that people liked doing top down. I started knitting top down socks. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll make the next pair top down. I'll do that. So I did. And so I ended up reusing, this is the yarn I used for this. And I've actually got tons left of this, because you need two different skeins, and so you could probably get two medium pairs of socks out of these. I think you could by using the two skeins. So I had those, and this one these are called Diva. These are the Diva Socks, like so. I'll show you them in a second. For this yarn, this is Potion Yarn's Footsie sock, and that is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and it's a standard, well, it's actually 366 meters per 100 grams. Look at the twist in it. Beautiful twist in that yarn. And then this one under here is Ren and Ollie. It's an Australian dyer. Potion Yarns is American. Ren and Ollie is an Australian dyer, and that's 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon. So they're pretty close for nylon yarn, but you see, you can just mix them up. You don't need to have them all the same. And that one is fabulously speckled, and it had this color in it. So these are all from my stash. I decided I was stash diving for my socks, and so you can do that too, or you can grab something new. It's it's totally up to you. So those were the two that I did, that I used, and oh my gosh, I had so much fun with these socks. They were super fun. So they start at the top with a cast on. Actually, I wanted to tell you, I will tell you with the next one. Otherwise, Claire will say I'm going out of order again. So I'll tell you with the next one. Remind me, I need to tell you something. I need to tell you a few things. You start at the top with a reasonably, you don't want to make your cast on too tight when you're doing cuff down socks. Just like you don't want to make your bind off too tight when you're going up. But you start at the top, and then you just launch straight into it with the colors. And I'm striping in the background, I'm striping the colors, and then in the foreground I'm just carrying this stitch over the top, and it's so effective. And I think partly it's so effective because the colors are absolutely knockout. You can go wild with the colors. I can't wait to show you some of the photos of my testers socks, and for these they went bananas with colors, and some of them actually even did cool things, like one sock was the pink on the front and the other sock was the blue on the front, so they had a mismatching pair. Anyway, they looked so good. So you go down and you slip and you knit and you slip and you knit, and you won't be able to stop. It's really addictive to go through. Please watch your tension though. Please watch your tension. I don't know what cast on I got you to do. I think I might have got you to do a German. Might have just got you to do it loosely. I can't remember the cast on I got you to do. I vary things, but you know, that's nice and loose, so you can get that over your leg. Watch your tension though when you get to here. I've given you the gauge for the tension that you need here. You could use that as your swatch. You don't have to go off and do a swatch somewhere else if you don't want. But make sure that you're not slipping too tightly. These have got to get over your leg, and there's a risk that if you slipping and knitting and slipping and knitting, I mean, you don't have floats or anything, but you just don't want it to be tight. Just keep a loose hand when you're doing them. So you move down the sock and then you get to the heel, which I just did straight out pink. I didn't want to overcomplicate things. So we went straight into the pink for the heel, and then we picked up the side of the heel and away we went. And we decreased through our gusset here and down back into the leg of our sock, where we've continued this colour all the way, or we turned our heel obviously, but we continued the top of the sock with the stripe, and then underneath we just went into stripes. And I got you to slip stitches at the back. I played around with what I thought looked best for the slip stitches at the back. I think at the bottom of that sock I've played around, but that's at the back you have like a break in the pink, and so you have a line of stitches. In the end I decided that looked best. I tried various different things, so that's how I get you to do it on the back. And then you go into the toe, and all of these socks have a pretty simple wedge toe. I like a wedge toe. We can talk about changing toes as we go on and how you might change your toe to make them fit your foot, but I did a pretty standard wedge toe, which actually does fit a lot of feet, and we do same decreases on both sides and just a regular decrease down to the top, and then you graft the few stitches that you have left at the end. I do like grafting, so I don't mind that. And you can do a grafting at the end. I think it's Suzanne Bryan who has a really good tutorial about not having the butterfly ears at the edges. I do that, whatever it is she suggests. You pull it down, I've forgotten what you do. I always have to look it up every time. But then you get a nice smooth top of your sock. You don't have little bunny ears sticking up like that. So those are Diva. These are super fun, and I just can't wait to show you what all of the testers did with their Diva socks. I've forgotten now. There was another thing I was going to show you, and I've forgotten what it was. Tell you. I should just tell you, shouldn't I? And Claire should just have to say, oh, here she goes again, telling you something else out of order. It'll come back to me if it's important. It'll come back to me. Sharon says, I think I'm going to try the German twister cast on my next top-down sock. Yeah, it's, I remember what it was now. I like a German twister cast on, and it's a little bit of a faff just to get your brain around it, to get it started. I don't recall if I've got a tutorial for it. I might do inside Wardrobe Toolbox. I could well, actually, inside Wardrobe Toolbox, but I just don't remember if I've done one. I might have. If I have, it'll be linked in a sock pattern, but I just can't remember if I have. Anyway, it's a good one to practice if you want to, but you just can keep your long tail cast on nice and loose and you'll be fine as well if you want to do that. So that's the second one. And here's the third one. I'll put it on a sock blocker and then you can see it. Amanda says, I love my Diva socks, but don't try to knit them two at a time from the same ball. Oh no, Amanda, that's a nightmare. She says it is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. I decided nobody was going to look at the bottom of my foot, so I didn't worry about the jog. Yeah, look, if you're not worried about the jog, don't worry about it. But I didn't want the jog, so I did. Did I use a smaller balls to knit Diva to avoid twisted yarn? No, I didn't. I just knitted, and what I tend to do is I tend to just move the ball, and so I knit English, and so I have my ball of yarn I'm using on my right and the ball of yarn I'm not using on my left, and I literally will just pick up and swap them like that, and that keeps me from getting tangled down like that. Barbara says, I love the alternating cable cast on for cuff down socks. Yeah, there's lots of cast ons we can try, so experiment with them. I mean, if you just want to get something on your needles, just make sure it's not too tight. Anything will work really. But yes, that's what I did. I just keep my balls like that, right? Okay, and these are the last ones. These ones, I didn't have these. I'd actually done another pair, which aren't finished. in some beautiful fibre company yarn called Amble, and I will get those done at some point. But then I thought, you know what, and they're toe up as well. No, are they cuff down? I can't remember what I've done now. They're in my box. Anyway, but I did think, all these people telling me that they're nervous about doing toe up. I think we could have a pattern that is DK, so it's not such tiny stitches. It's fast to do, and you can get the grips with it and make it really easy. That was my plan. And so I decided to do these ones, which are called Pippi Socks. I'll just put them out of the way. There are Pippi Socks. And so these are started at the toe, and then you work your way again up. And I actually have a tutorial, a video to show you how to do Judy's Magic Cast On. And so follow that, Judy's Magic Cast On. And I've made a video. It's linked in the pattern. So you just click that and off you go to the cast on. My mum started these, and she was telling me the other day that she's used to just doing, top down socks in her sleep. She hasn't done toe up. And she was like, oh, I can see that, I can understand what you're doing in the video, but I'm still finding it difficult to get my head, to do it. It's only a few stitches, so don't be too worried. Part of what she was doing was she likes using dpns. I'll talk about needles in a minute. If you can't manage the Judy's Magic Cast On, I try it because it's a nice cast on, but if you can't manage that one, try a Turkish cast on. And then I have got a German twister cast on tutorial. That's very good, Sabrina, for finding that. Thank you. That's really good. It's linked here on Facebook. We'll see if I can remember to put it somewhere in the show notes. I'll see if I can remember to do that. Try Turkish cast on if you can't get your head around Judy's, because Turkish cast on is so easy. It's so easy. You just wind your yarn on. Now, it may not be as stable, but it's a good way to get started, and you don't have to do many stitches. So you start at the toe. Again, we just have our toe, we have the nice toe like this. So it's a nice wedge toe, and then you work up the foot, and you get to the point. I tell you in the pattern to stop now when you've got this much left. Okay, I tell you when to stop. So you need to know how long your sock is going to be, and that's why that measuring guide is quite helpful. You want it a bit, there's two schools of thought really. You either want it shorter than your foot, by about half an inch, or you want it exactly the length of your foot. If you think you're on the edge of making a sock that's to about half an inch shorter than your foot, and then you'll get a size that is right. So do that, and then you stop, and then you see in here, you start your increases up the side. Get my face out of it. Until you get to a point here where you've got that on that white stripe. That is, our sock is like that wide, super wide, because we've got our gusset and everything. I'll show you on this one. It's like that all the way round, including our back. And then once you've done that, you do a bit of jiggery pokery to move stitches around, and I get you to turn the heel here at the top, and then you move up into I get you to rib this heel. You move up and do the heel, and then you come back and you start your stripes again, and here, and you're decreasing up. Oh, sorry, you can't really see that. You're decreasing up the side of your heel in order to get yourself back to the circumference that you want at the top. Circumference that you'll want being the operative phrase, because you might want your circumference to be wider up there than it was below. So you do that, and then you stripe your way to the top, and then just to finish things off, because it's cute and because it just gives you something interesting at the top of your sock that I thought would be fun to do, you do some colour work. And you do these little Pippi flowers out of her garden before you go into rib, and then that is just a it's a row of knitting, and then you bind it off, and it creates sort of like an I-cord, but it has a bit of movement to it. It's not tight. And these are very easy little colour work, because you just use two colours on a round, and you can play with your colours up here. Again, watch your, and it's spring down here, exactly. Watch your tension here. Please don't make this too tight. Quite a few of my knitters went up a needle size for this part. And in fact, if you're planning to make these socks a bit longer and they're going to go up your leg, you might increase your needle size through here so that this becomes, as you inch towards the top here, maybe go up a needle size, and then up and up a needle size for this part, so that your sock is wider at the top if you have a fuller ankle and calf. The other thing you could do is you could actually dot in some increases through here, so that you can fit in another flower, which will be 8 stitches. There's charts in all of these patterns. There are written instructions and charts, but I do have a color work chart for this one. So you'll just need 8 more stitches to pop in another flower. So there's lots of things you can do. They're a really good blanket sock to start with, and they're DK. So I was imagining that they'd be cozy socks. You'd sort of pull them on in the evening and slip them into your slippers. Those kind of socks. You could wear them under boots and things if you want. If you're a gumboot person, you could wear them under gumboots, and they'd be nice and thick and keep you cozy and warm. But I was envisaging them as a really good option for, I've never knitted toe-up socks before and I want to have a go. Wouldn't that make a cute cardigan? You know, I was thinking that, Lynn, because I think it was Morgan who did one of the tests. It was for Pippi, and she did a single color sock against a plain background. She didn't do the stripes. She just did plain socks and then just did this contrasting flower. Oh, they look so good. They look so good. Can you knit the color work turned in outside in? Yeah, you definitely could. Just turn it outside in to knit the color work, and just keep your float so that you can actually move in your sock, and you've got a bit of movement there, not too tight, not too loose. That'd be easy enough to do as a 4-ply sock as well. Yeah, they really would. But yeah, it would look so cute. I mean, I just need to write all these ideas down, don't I? Because I think I could do a Pippi jumper or a Pippi cardi. Would be really sweet. She could have little pockets. Oh my gosh, I already can see it now. A bit of I-cord and pockets and contrast colors and stripes, and it'd be so cute. Anyway, those are the Pippi socks. So they are videos that go with these and these to show you how to do the toe. And obviously, somewhere, I don't know if I linked to it in the pattern or even if I used it. I did you can do a German twisted cast on, and I've obviously got a tutorial about that somewhere on my website, so that's handy. I obviously thought about that a long time ago. So those are the 3 new socks. They're all available. I sat there this morning and I've made them all live, and so the socks are live right now and on my website and on Ravelry, so you can go and look at them if you want. On my website, it's pretty cool. I've decided to do something new with all my patterns. I'm not going to go back and do it for old patterns, but I will do it for patterns going forward, because I've got over 100 patterns, so I'm not going to go back and do it for the old ones. But for Wardrobe Toolbox, when I put a pattern out, I do a video about it. And so it's just a short video. It might be max 7 to 10 minutes maximum. It might just be 5 minutes, but I talk about the pattern, and so it's with the pattern in the website on Wardrobe Toolbox for those of you in there. I didn't always do it. I started doing it a couple of years ago probably, and so when a pattern comes, I can tell you about it. And so it's better, rather than you reading all the stuff, I can say, hey, this is the construction, this is the kind of thing I'm thinking about, take care to do this or take care to do that, or this is something I tried, blah blah blah. And so I do a video, and I've decided to do those for my Truly Myrtle patterns as well. So these are the first 3 that have patterns that go with the socks. And if you go to the Truly Myrtle website, trulymyrtle.com, and go to the shop, I probably need to pin the socks to the top of the page, actually Claire, if you're watching and you could remember to do that, that would be quite good. We could pin those to the top of the page, so the socks come up first. All the socks, we should probably do that. But we've got a really good way of looking. I've got a new directory. The Truly Myrtle website needs a complete overhaul, and it will get it when I have time. But for starters, we have a really great search function now, which is fantastic. So you can look up different how hard things are, because I have my 5-ball way of classifying patterns to see how difficult they are. And you can search by that, you can search by type, and you can search by yarn weight. And so you can search by all of those things at the same time, and then it will bring you up something. So if you say, I feel like doing a pair of DK socks that aren't too tricky, and DK socks that aren't too tricky. That's what I want to do. There's the 3 things: socks, DK, not too tricky. You might pick a ball, difficulty, or a couple, and it'll pop up, and it might pop up with these socks, and then you'll be able to see them. It might pop up with a couple of different socks, because I'll show you some more. I've got some other DK socks as well. And so it's a really good place to go and have a look at if you want to find the videos and if you want to do some searching. And don't forget that when you're buying a pattern on the Truly Myrtle website, make an account and log in. Be logged in, because I save you have an account with your patterns. I save your patterns in your account for you, so that you can come back and you can download them as many times as you need from the Truly Myrtle website. And if you run out of downloads, just let us know and we can up your download numbers. Don't download them 1,000 times, but download them in reasonable numbers. And so that's really a good thing to remember when you're over there, trulymyrtle.com, and you can, the videos are there. So I had another thing. It just went in and out of my head. Oh, yeah, I was going to tell you a story. I was going to tell you a story to make you feel better about the fact that I make a lot of mistakes with my knitting. And I'm hoping you will feel both relieved and also laugh and also think, if she can do it, I can do it. So I knitted the first one of these socks, and that was great. And I got up to here, and I dithered about the flower. And so I left the first sock here. I did the flower, ripped it back, and I was like, okay, I left it here, finished. And I thought, I'll just knit the second sock. So I literally knitted all day. I stayed in bed most of the day. And this is a couple of months ago. And I just knitted all day, and I knitted another sock. And I got to the socks at the night time. By night time, I had dinner and all of those things. But by night time, I had got two socks that were up to about here. And then, I don't recall. I think I finished this. I finished one of the socks. I think I went back and I finished the sock that was, up to there. And then I had the other sock to do. And I might have finished it. I actually think I might have got up to here. Because then I looked back at it and I thought, gee, that sock's long, isn't it? It's quite a long sock. What's going on? And I compared the two socks. I was in bed again by that time at night. It was late. It was very late at night. And I looked at my two socks and I thought, oh, one sock is much longer than the other sock down here. This is what is going on. And I realized that what I'd done was, instead of counting the number of stripes up to the gusset, I counted the entire number of stripes and knitted those before I started the gusset. So I had that much too long. I mean, you would have thought I would notice, but I had this much. I had about that many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I had about 10 stripes too many. And I thought, oh, you have got to be joking me. I think I was all the way up there. I was definitely up here. I think I had done the colour work as well. Anyway, I just thought, there is no way I am ripping back this sock. I cannot believe I did that. This is insane. And so it was, by then, Mr. Myrtle is asleep next to me in the bed, and I've got my bedside light on, and it was after midnight. And I'm thinking, I can't go to sleep and not have these socks fixed, because I know what's going to happen. I'm going to wake up in the night a million times. I'm going to be like, damn, those socks. I need to fix those socks. Jolly, I should just fix them, or should I rip them? And I know I'll be worrying about it all night. And so I thought, I'm going to fix them before I go to sleep, because it's the only way to do this. I had so much to do. And yeah, lucky it was DK. I know. I didn't cry. I just got busy. So there I was with the bedside light leaning over. He's over there asleep, and I am leaning over, and I thought, I'm going to cut these socks and I'm going to graft them back together. And so I worked out what I was going to do. I knew I needed to lose a whole bunch of stripes, 10 stripes or however many it was. And I thought, okay, I'll cut it. So first of all, I put my needle in. How did I do it? I put my needle in under my toe. That's what I did. I put my needle in under my toe here, and I put my and then I must have put it in higher. No, I must have put it in. Maybe I did put it there. I must have put it in higher because I needed to rip back. So I probably put it in up here actually, and then I ripped back, and then so I put my needle in around a stripe, which was quite not too hard because you can see the stripe, right? So I put my needle in where I needed to have them finish, somewhere up here, and then I cut it. I got out my little scissors. They're not here. I have my little, you know, those little bird scissors, and I snipped the stitches one by one around until I snipped them all off. And I'm thinking, this has got to work. And I'm really uncomfortable because I'm leaning over to the side in the bedside light, trying not to wake him up. I should have just got out of bed, but I didn't. I just thought I'd stay there. Anyway, I snipped them all off, and then I had two pieces. I had this part of the sock, and I had this part of the sock. And then I ripped back the number of stripes, because I'd obviously worked out how many were going to be correct. I must have ripped it back about here. Must have been about here, actually, because I had the right number of stripes. And then well, actually, let's think, because it was so long. I needed that many. And then I ripped back down to the toe, and I put all the stitches, because it's so nice because you can see them then on the toe. I put all the stitches then back onto a needle at that point. So I had a toe with a needle, and I had this part at the top, and all this stuff in the middle was gone, because remember, I had twice as much as I needed. And so then I got myself sorted, right, got everything ready, got it all lined up, and my beginning of row is here at the back, because I show you how to I do the slip stitches at the back so you don't get a jog. And I started there, and I got my toe. And you know, you've got to arrange them just right when you're doing the grafting them together. And I grafted the toe. I can't remember which sock it was, I think. I can't remember which sock it was. You see, I can't have trouble seeing. Yeah. Oh, I think I should do a video on how to do that. It was a bit terrifying because by then it was getting on for 1 o'clock in the morning. Oh, I did it on this toe. Look. It's just not quite perfect, but you wouldn't know. On the back, on a perfect toe, it looks like this when you're going from the toe up. See how I've got that slipped stitch here? And this is the one I grafted there. So it's not quite perfect, but you probably wouldn't know. Oh my goodness. So I did it. I grafted it. I finished them. And then I thought, yes. And I went to sleep. And by then it was 1 o'clock in the morning, but they were done. Oh, I couldn't believe it. They were done. I think I'd actually gone all the way to the top. I must have finished. I must have been completely finished because I didn't have to do anything the next day. I was done. And I got up in the morning. Yes, I didn't wake up worrying about it then. That's what you do. You don't want to wake up worrying about your knitting. That's for sure. What an absolutely crazy, crazy time. So I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to tell you all that. So hopefully you feel better too. Now, let me just see your comments. Yeah, I think I'll show you, Carla. I'll have to do something. Morgan said I would have ripped it back. I can knit again faster than I can graft. Yeah, well, I just knew I couldn't knit. I didn't want to spend. I just spent all day literally knitting that sock, and I couldn't face it. I just couldn't face it. I had to get on with other things, and so grafting was my best option, and it did work. And it really isn't too tricky. It wasn't too tricky. The hardest thing is getting your tension right, and just that very end. The very end, it wasn't perfect, but I managed it so it was fine enough. Like I can see there's one little white bit there that shouldn't be there, but it was fine enough. No one would ever notice. You wouldn't notice. Oh my goodness. So if you have knitted a sleeve too long, or if you knitted a body too long, or whatever, rather than ripping back, do think about it, chop it, rip it and graft it. You might find, especially with socks, a DK sock, you'll find it's way faster, way faster than doing it again. Oh my gosh, I couldn't stand that. Okie dokie, what else have we got here? Yes, a man on a galloping horse is never going to see my fix under my foot. I think it's going to be good. Yeah, it just shows I'm human. I am so human. You wouldn't believe how human I am. It's amazing. So those are the new ones. I hope you really enjoy them. Someone just said that they went and watched the video, one of the videos. I can't saw that. I watched your sock videos. Oh, they're great. Oh, brilliant, Anita. Yeah. So, oh, Kim, sorry. Yes, the time has changed. No, we haven't finished. We can keep going. So, oh, but I didn't tell you about the yarn for this one. Okay, so I'm going to go back now. Claire, I'm still talking about the Pippi Socks, so I'm going to go back. I used this yarn, which I really liked for this one. I've actually got more of it up there above at the top there. I've got a bit more of this kind of yarn left. It's Socks Yeah DK from Coop Knits, and I used 4 different colors. For the body of the socks, and they come in 50-gram skeins, and you only need one skein of each to make the socks for a reasonable, for an average size, well, I'm a 38, and I had, it's difficult to know because I had quite a few skeins. I've said it in the pattern how much you need for the socks, but I think it's 150-gram skein of each colour for the main colour. And then for the top, you only need about 20 grams. You don't need much. I'll tell you in a minute, Sharon. You don't need much for the top. And actually, I would go stash diving for some of your DK scraps, or hold fingering together or something like that to do the top of your sock. I don't know if you need to go and buy another whole skein of yarn. I used, I haven't got them all here, all the different colours, because I did give some to my mum to make hers. But this is what they are. They're the Socks DK, and they're nice and smooth. Nice, smooth, and really soft. I think it would actually be a lovely yarn to use for other projects as well, but it's got a bit of nylon in it. It is 75% fine superwash merino, 25% nylon, and I did use a 3.25 needle to knit them. So I thought they were really good. There is other sock yarn around if you want a specific sock yarn. If you're going to wear these in shoes, then you might want to add something to strengthen them. And you could do that with having nylon in your socks. That's the most common way. It's not that common to get DK yarn with nylon in it. It's around. There's more of it around. You could hold a thin strand of nylon with your DK if you wanted. But the other thing you could do is you could also add some mohair. Now, if you're going to add mohair, you probably don't want to add the really fluffy mohair. You could, but you can get that smooth mohair. It's very expensive though, so it may not be a great option. Or silk. You could add a very, very fine thing of silk. Again, it's not the most economical option. But if you're just going to wear these tucked into your slippers or slop around in the house in them, or just to keep your feet cozy at home, I don't know if I'd bother with sock yarn. I don't know if I would. I think maybe I would just get DK yarn, and it's not much that you need. So you could probably, you could knock out a pair with just some yarn you've got in DK with some great colours, and use some odds and sods for the top. You could easily make those. If they're not going to be worn and really hard wearing, they'll probably be fine to wear just a regular sock. For the others, if you're going to have them in your shoes, I do like to have it so that they're a bit stronger. There was one of the things they say about socks in the past, before we had anything like nylon or access to mohair or silk or any of those fibers which are a bit stronger, was that people used to make their socks a bit longer, and so when you wore them, they would rub in your foot. They wouldn't be too tight on your foot, and so this is a good argument for making them the same length as your foot. And as you wear them, they rub and they felt, and then because they're not superwash, that only works for a non-superwash. But then at the bottom of your foot, you have this felted sock, and that way they'll be stronger. So yeah, I think you could really go whichever way you fancied with this. I'll come back to you, Sharon. I'll have to remember to come back to you. I'll talk about Wardrobe Toolbox a bit at the end. Tamza said, I used the Coop Socks DK for my Pippi Socks, and I loved the yarn. It is really nice yarn, isn't it? It's lovely and smooth, and it's not splitty. It's lovely. Skeins had a DK sock yarn recently, and I got several colours which would be great for Pippi. Oh, good. That's good, Anya. I didn't realise they did a DK sock there. Amanda says, I used a plain DK for the colour work because I feel you don't need the nylon because it's not under your foot. I 100% agree. I don't think you need sock yarn for the top, for the flower. Just use any old DK. You're not going to, unless you have some strange thing where you're going to be rubbing the tops of your legs together. Maybe, I don't know what you might do to do that. But unless you're going to do that, I just use sock yarn, a DK yarn. Grab some really fun colours that you've got. You love the striped sock, Wanda. Sock blockers, are those worth an investment? Right. Shall we talk a bit about, I'll come back to that because I've got some things in front of me, but I'll just quickly show you my other socks. So you've got, there are other socks there to choose from. I'll whip through them real fast. I've got other socks that are, they're all going to be on sale, all the socks. So I've got these are all, I've got one other pair of toe-up socks, which are these, and these are called Jilly socks. These were Wardrobe Toolbox socks, and so for those of you in Wardrobe Toolbox, they're already on sale inside Wardrobe Toolbox. You get a good price on them in there. In fact, a lot of these are. So these are the Jilly socks, and they're toe-up, and they're cute. They're just pretty little socks. I like these ones. And yeah, so those are toe-up. And I've got some stuff in Wardrobe Toolbox about quite a bit of stuff about socks in there when you get inside. So yeah, there's those are the toe-up ones. They're on Ravelry and my website as well, and I'll put a code in for a discount for those tomorrow. But Wardrobe Toolboxes, you already have this. These are also Wardrobe Toolbox socks. The rest of these are top down. No, hang on, I tell a lie. These are toe-up. These are the new Love Bug socks that I put out about a couple of months ago. And so these ones are also toe-up. And I used a beautiful alpaca blend from Bombed Yarns for these. Just lovely. And these are toe-up, same heel flap and gusset. They've got a nice ribbed section which runs all the way down into the heel. So those are on my website and Ravelry as well. Those are not inside Wardrobe Toolbox. And then these ones are inside Wardrobe Toolbox as well, but they're also on Ravelry and my website. And these are the Lodestone socks. These are top down. And there's quite a few lessons around socks to go with these about how to adjust your height of your instep for these socks inside Wardrobe Toolbox. So these are top down. These are great. I do like a unisex sock. A lot of my socks are unisex. Not all of them. I mean, you know, but you can wear whatever you like, but a lot of them are obviously unisex. These ones have a lovely slip stitch pattern down the front, and I like a ribbed back because I think it's comfortable because it's so stretchy. So it's a comfy fit on your foot. Heel flap and gusset again, and grafting at the toe. So those are Lodestone. These are also fingering socks from the top down. These are the Footsie socks, and I used Mrs. Peacock. This is a New Zealand dye. Look at the colour on that. These are stunning, the colour of the Footsie socks. And these are a super quick, cute little slip stitch pattern. One of those ones that you just like popcorn knitting. You just knit. Oh, yay, I'm loving this. And just do a little bit more. These ones are fun. So the popcorn pattern goes all the way down into the heel flap and gusset to the end. So those are Footsie. And then I have these three, which are all DK, and they're all top down, and they're all in Wardrobe Toolbox. Originally in Wardrobe Toolbox, we had these socks, which are called Eliza, and they had a cable pattern down the front, and we had lessons around this about swapping out cables and how to measure cables and do swatching for cables and swapping them in and out of things. And so this was the first pair I did of Eliza socks from the top down in a DK, and I love the bobbles on the front of these. They're so cute. So those are the Eliza ones. And then as part of that lesson, I created other charts for you inside Wardrobe Toolbox, and I then turned those into socks, and so I put those in Wardrobe Toolbox. They're all there. And so for those of you who were there at the time, you got three, and then I just put them out as separate patterns. So these are Maggie, and that's just a different cable that runs down the front for the Maggie socks. I just think it's so effective. It's got this quilting pattern at the back. They all have that, but they have this fun little just a nice cables that run down the length of the sock. DK top down, and the final ones are Florence. Again, same quilting pattern at the back, but she has a different cable down the front, all the way down. So if you fancy cables, this is the way to go. These, I saw someone make these recently for their husband, and they do look just beautiful, really beautiful socks. I use Dreamfire yarn for this. This is a New Zealand dyer. For these three, I use the New Zealand dyer who does sock yarn, DK sock yarn, and look at these, just such pretty colours for those ones. So those are all inside Wardrobe Toolbox. They're all on Ravelry, and they're all on my Truly Myrtle website. So you can see some of them are in Wardrobe Toolbox and others are not. And so I just will come back to that question about Wardrobe Toolbox. If you have just joined Wardrobe Toolbox, we have patterns in there, but not all my patterns are in there, because we get patterns for Wardrobe Toolbox every second month. and sometimes, you know, I'll give you extras. And so those will sit in your pattern library over there. And if you are a member during the season they came out, you'll have them in your pattern library, the actual patterns. If you're not a member when they came out, then you can go back and you can buy older patterns from Wardrobe Toolbox, and you always get the best discount is in there. And so you can purchase them in there at any time for a discount. So I will often, for quite a while, I was just a bit overwhelmed with, you know, having a lot of children and life and everything. And I hadn't been putting out a lot of other patterns alongside Wardrobe Toolbox patterns. But this year, you know, everything always changes at home. And so this year I've had a bit more free time, and as my kids get older and leave home, to be honest. And so I've been able to do more Truly Myrtle patterns separate from Wardrobe Toolbox. And so you'll find these 3 socks that I've just showed you this morning, the new ones, these 3 are all not in Wardrobe Toolbox. These are separate from Wardrobe Toolbox. And so you can get a discount on them. You just need to be on my mini mag list, which you're not automatically, but of course you're welcome to be if you're in Wardrobe Toolbox. But these ones are separate. And I've got a jersey coming in another month or so, which also is separate. And so I've got other things coming out all the time alongside Wardrobe Toolbox. So you will get patterns inside Wardrobe Toolbox as well. So hopefully that's clear, but you can ask me anytime. I will tell you that again. Okay. I made Maggie out of that yarn. It's such lovely yarn. Yeah, the Dreamfire, it is. It's lovely and round yarn. It looked so good with the cables. You keep your testers busy. I know I keep my testers busy. For a while there, they were like drumming their fingers. Come on, Libby, get some more things. But now I'm keeping them a bit busier, which is good. Okay, I have a discount code to tell you about, which I can see Rachel is here watching. Rachel from Good Wool Hunting is a New Zealand yarn shop. She sent me an email the other day and she said, hey, we want to offer your Truly Myrtle people and the Wardrobe Toolbox people a special discount. And I said, oh, that's really nice of you. And so she said they are having a sale right now on all their sock related items. So that includes, I guess, have you got sock blockers? I'm not sure if you do. Needles and yarn and all the tools you might want for socks. They've got a sale at the moment. Everything's, I think she said between 15 and 20% off. But if you use the code SOCKS, okay, SOCKS, if you use the code SOCKS at goodwoolhunting.co.nz, or you do have sock blockers, excellent, I'll talk about those in a second. If you use that code SOCKS, you will get an extra 5% off. Okay, so that's going to take it up to 25% for some of those things. So it's a good one to remember. They're already on sale over there, but add the code and you get another 5%. So thank you so much, Rachel. That was so generous of you. So I am thrilled to be able to tell everybody to go and indulge in some sock stuff. The needles aren't part of the special. That's fair enough. Needles, we're going to talk about needles in a second. It's going to be, try and make it not too long. We might come back to needles as well next time, but the needles aren't part of it, but there's all sorts of sock paraphernalia that you might want. All right, so I'm going to show you quickly, and we can come back to this actually. I'll show you some of the sock things that I use. We've talked a bit about yarn already. We can talk about that in another week. I think we will talk about go through some of these things I'm talking about in these guides. Don't forget the Sock Toolkit is at trulymyrtle.com/sock toolkit, one word. And go and grab your sock toolkit, and then I'll send it to you in the mini mag anyway. So you can just grab that at trulymyrtle.com/mini mag. Good Wool Hunting are fantastic. They are, Heather, I agree. Okay, so what do you need when you're knitting socks? Well, you've got your wool and you've got your pattern, so that's good. You can decide whether you're doing top down or toe up. And actually, depending on what you're doing, you might go for slightly different things. So the first thing I'll talk about is actually needles. I have got this little set of Chiaogoo needles, and I think they did give them to me. I think I was given these needles, which was incredibly lucky of me to be given them. I was thinking about stocking them for a while because I recommend Chiaogoo needles so often that I was thinking I should just put them in my shop because everybody can use them. But anyway, I haven't done that. But they come with lots of cables. I've bought extra cables. You don't get that many cables. You get some cables. I'll pull out a needle and I'll show you. Oh, that's a very long needle. Hang on. Oh, I've got a little shorty one. There's a shorty one. Has lots of cables, and in it, this is the sock set. Has these, oh, there's more cables. I had to buy lots of cables. This is the socks needles that you get, and you have little short 2-inch tips, which are that long. See? Quite short. And then you also, at the top, you get 3-inch tips, which are that long at the top. And so I like using both together. Some people like using just the tiny ones. Some people like the big ones. I like both. And so what I do is I do this, both together. And so I have the long one in my right hand and I have the short one in my left hand, and off I go. I do prefer on this, I usually put them on, when I'm actually knitting my socks, I put them on this tiny little cable, which I mangle a little bit. But I put on the tiny little cable so it just fits perfectly around the top of my sock. Now, when I make all my socks with these now, I don't use other needles anymore. I only use these. I've just got used to them and I really like them. When I'm casting on for my toes, I actually use 2 needles. I prefer that now. And so I get 2 longer tips like this, and I put them on, doesn't matter what length cable, and I just do my cast on. I have them held together like that, but 2 separate cables, and I do my cast on like that to get them started. And then I can work 1 needle, and then on one side you turn it, and then you can do the other needle. But if I have 2 needles, it actually is, I find that quite good. We can talk about that more later on another episode if you like. But so those are the ones I really like, the Chiaogoo ones. Look, there's all sorts of sock needles out there, and it's a matter of experimenting. But I actually went through the other day, I was looking for a crochet hook, which I didn't find because I think my daughter's got all my crochet hooks. And I've got this little pouch, which I made about a decade ago out of an old jersey. And in it, I've got double pointed needles, and I sorted them all out because they were all in a big jumble. And I have lots and lots of needles in here. This is just some of them. I have lots of needles, and I've put them back in their packets so that I could find them easily. And I've got wooden dpns. I used to use a lot. This is what I used to use, dpns, all my dpns. Look, look how many 2.5s I've got. Got a lot of those. I obviously liked those. And then over the years, I started buying these, the zings. And if I'm going to use dpns now, I really like the zings. And I like it because I like the point on it. It's a reasonable point. There's the little sock ones. Obviously, I didn't realize I had some. I bought some more. Maybe I had 2 pairs of socks on my needles. I don't know. But the thing I love about them is they're coloured. They're coloured. So you don't have to look and see what size are they. You know that you've got all the same size because they're all the same colour. Oh, I love that. I love that about them. Because with the wooden ones, I had, I sorted them all out. And I had to measure the socks to work out what I had. I've got long ones and I've got short ones. I've got all sorts. And you can get those zings right up to, like real fat ones. So you can, in the hot pink. So I really like those for DPN. I actually am quite fond of DPNs, but I tend to just use my circulars now. But you'll need sock needles that you like. I'm knitting with that set now. I love them, and I started doing your trick using the 2 different lengths on either side, and you love it. Oh, good, Yona, that's really good. Yeah. Tamsin loves the Chiaogoo shorties, interchangeables. It's great for small circumference. Yeah, and look, you can use those. If you actually find your hands quite like using those tiny needles, you can actually get really long cables to do everything with them. If you wanted, you could do garments. I think I bought those by accident, the long ones. I didn't mean to do that because I don't tend to use them for garments. I think I meant to buy the other cables and got those instead, but I put it all in my pack just to see if I'll ever use it. But yes, so needles are the first thing. So have a play with your needles. I'll come back in another episode and talk a bit more about needles. I'll leave them all here so I can remember to do that another time with you, and we can talk about how to arrange your stitches on your needles and things like that. The other thing that I've got are sock blockers. I've held these up lots of times. I have got some up there which Mr. Myrtle made for me out of plywood, and those are great. They're pretty rough. I mean, they're not rough, but they look homemade, and they're the shape of my foot. I literally lay a sock down and I drew around it and said, can you cut that out? And then I just smoothed the edges with sandpaper. But somebody gave me these years ago now, and these are great. These are my shoe size. Remember I said I was a 38, so these are 37 to 39. They're nice and holy in the middle, so they dry beautifully on your sock blockers. You don't need sock blockers. Like, they are a want, I think, rather than a need. But I do like them a lot, and I do dry my socks on them, at least when they start drying, because it opens up the pattern and it makes everything get beautifully even. When I've washed them and I soak them to block them, it does smooth out all the stitches, and you can see how they're looking on the sock blocker. I do really like them for that. The other thing that I think they could be handy for is if you're knitting a top-down pair of socks and you know that your foot is that length, then you could slide them onto here and know that you're nearly at the end. I've also got this one, which is a toe up, which also was a gift to me, which is so kind. And so I think I got this in a swap. I think Joanne, you gave them to me. I don't know if she's watching, but I think she either gave them to me as a gift or it was a swap. They might have been a gift. And they're good for taking photos. That's true. They are good for taking photos. These ones are really good when you're knitting toe up, because you can slide your sock on and then you can measure how long it is, because you're going to need to know how long it is before you get started with the heel. It's got all this gauge stuff on it. I never use that for checking gauge. It's got a needle hole thing on it, which could be maybe useful. I don't think I've ever used it for that. I've got a separate one. And you can do wraps per inch around the end, which is pretty fun. But mostly it's this tape measure on it. This one is in centimeters. You can get them in inches and centimeters. And you slide your sock on, and then you know, am I ready to start the heel? Am I ready to start the heel yet? Because it measures from the bottom up, and then also has a measurement from here up. What does it have a measurement from there up for? Is that just because it's flat? That could be for gauge. I think this is the one that you want to pay attention to, up the middle, to see how long your sock has got and are you ready to start your heel. The Sheepies sock rulers are good. I don't have one of those. This is all I have. And so the tools that you need are few, I think. There are definitely tools that make your life a lot easier. Needles you love, and a good ruler is helpful if you haven't got one of these. And markers. You need stitch markers when you're making socks, unless you're using dpns, and then you might not. Although I was telling my mum the other day that it might be a good idea to use a marker and to dpns. I'll explain to you that, I think, next time, because I've gone on for so long today. So I think that was all I had to tell you. We have the doors for Wardrobe Toolbox are closing tonight, and that is it. So if you want to come in, we'd absolutely love to see you. We've had a really big intake this time. It is so fantastic meeting everybody, and I'm excited about opening up on Monday when we all begin, and I'm looking forward to giving you your new pattern. And there's one that you haven't seen before and one you have, and we've got new fun stuff happening over there. There's more social things happening, which I think you're going to enjoy. And so that shuts tonight. So if you want to be in, head over to wardrobetoolbox.com and sign up before the doors close. I've made you a sock toolkit, and you can grab that at trulymyrtle.com/sock toolkit, one word. And I think you'll enjoy that. I think you'll just find that handy just to read through and have a bit of a refresher, or just to make yourself feel a bit more confident. We've got 3 new sock patterns, these ones, the 3 new socks, which are all live right now. They're all live right now, but I will be sending you a discount on these 3 patterns in my mini mag tomorrow morning on Friday, and it will be a discount for these and all the other socks. So you don't have to knit just these, you can knit all the other socks. And over in the Hangout, we are going to spend October knitting socks. So I'd absolutely love for you to join in. We still have prizes every week in the Hangout for people that are posting their pictures, and we love seeing what you're making. And every week we draw some winners for free patterns. So you might ask for a sock pattern. That would be a good one to ask for if you win on Monday. you could ask for a sock pattern and post as many pictures as you want. We absolutely love seeing your yarn that you're going to use and the patterns, the Truly Myrtle patterns that you're using. And so that's over on Facebook in the Hangout. It's our free group over there, so you can head over there and join up. And I will be back next week to talk about socks some more. And hopefully there'll be a few socks underway, so you can ask your questions. Don't forget, if you have got questions, you can send them to me at trulymyrtle.com/ask. You can ask me your questions there. And actually, if you have sock questions, that's probably a good place to put them. And I'll pull them out and bring them to the podcast next week, and we can talk about them. And I think that's it. I think that's all the things I had to tell you. There was a lot of things today to tell you. It's really good. If you're watching on YouTube, I always love it when you give me a thumbs up. That is so nice. YouTube loves it when you give me a thumbs up. It makes it spreads my video a bit more widely, so more people can hear about Truly Myrtle. And actually, that's been a really interesting thing. With this latest group that's come into Wardrobe Toolbox, a lot have said that they found me on YouTube. Who knew? So there we go. So if you fancy giving me a thumbs up, that would be really, really nice. Okay, everybody, I will see you same time, same place for another good old knit natter about, we're going to talk about sock knitting next week. So get your sock knit on, and I will see you same time, same place next week. Have a happy week, everyone. I'll catch you later. Bye. See ya.